Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 8, Episode 41, where we watch The Summit, Season 1, Episode 1, and Alliances are how you win games. I'm Chris Lorenz.
I'll be the first one to push you off that mountain like Humpty Dumpty, and I don't care. This is Brian.
My name is Becky. Come on. This is Noah Singer.
I'm not sure this is a word, but family-esque. This is Maxton Keeper.
Those are all quotes from this week's show. But last week we watched Roller Jam on Max, and you guys voted it a middle third show.
Ooh.
Okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Noah, what show did we watch this week?
16 strangers embark on a 14-day trek through the perilous New Zealand Alps to reach a distant peak. Each holds part of $1 million prize, but only those who survive the harsh terrain, Antarctic winds, and intense challenges will win. They face eliminations and twists from the mountain's keeper, testing their morale and unity. Their greatest challenge is to stay together and reach the summit on time. Failure means losing the entire prize. That's The Summit on CBS.
I kind of zoned out there for a second. So everyone come back. Come back.
We're back.
So this show is kind of like trying to be like Survivor-esque. Like you got like kind of normal people on the show.
Yeah.
And they're given like a big challenge. So the big challenge is they have to go up this mountain in 14 days. But they're all carrying these giant packs, and in those packs, split between all the people is $1 million. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you like quit because you're a podcaster and you're too fat and you wouldn't make it anyway. You could quit, but then your money is gone.
Yeah. I didn't realize there were Alps in New Zealand. I thought Alps was like a specific mountain range in Europe.
It could be the Alps continued on to New Zealand.
Like after Pangea.
Like the
Continental drift.
Pangea-esque. I don't know. I'm not a paleontologist or somebody that would know anything like that.
Paleontologist.
Some explorer just named them the Southern Alps. Originally, they were the Mirage of the Ocean in Maori. That's way cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I mean, speaking of Maori, there's a big overtone on this show of like respecting the native land, which I kind of like. I think it's a little overdone in this, but I do like that they go out of their way to pay their respect.
So I looked this up. Land acknowledgements are way more common on TV in like England, Australia, New Zealand. Who knew?
I think it's a positive thing. Like,
Yeah.
just remember,
It's a little goofy, but whatever.
I do think that this show like it gives some really good vistas.
Yes.
Very good
Oh.
B-roll. Very beautiful. I was like, Christina, don't you want to go do this with me? Isn't it beautiful? She's like, I'd rather do Amazing Race. And I'm like, this seems like more doable than like Amazing Race seems so gimmicky. Like here, we're just climbing up this mountain. Let's train. Let's
This
go.
is way more doable. This is way more doable than Amazing Race is way more doable. Climbing a mountain is hard as shit. It requires you to train.
I agree. I think the Amazing Race you can kind of get by. This is like, I think climbing a mountain is hard.
I don't know. I mean, I just like I feel like I'd have so much anxiety about what we're doing and all this BS in an Amazing Race. Whereas like this, I'm like climbing a mountain. All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
I kind of agree with Chris. But there's also some bullshit in this, like the way they cross
true.
that one ridge. It's just Survivor bullshit.
They do. Let's see. What to talk
But
about
like
next? Who's
IRL, I would do this or try.
Oh, really? I would definitely prefer Amazing Race too. Just like you get to go around the world. Like that's kind of cool.
That's fair.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like you do, but you don't it's not like, hey, you were in Paris. Like you're fucking running as fast as possible through Paris or in a taxi cab, like you're not like, you might not even have a memory of you being in Paris because you're like
Just dealing
you're
with all
just
this
preparing
BS.
for the next day. You're trying to win those $1,000,000. You're not
Yeah.
there to soak it up.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not soaking it up. I'd say you're just getting to see different parts of the world. You're not soaking in parts of the world.
Chris, you're not soaking this up either. You're busting your ass to get there, and then you're tired as fuck, and you collapse, and you make some food, and then you keep going. Like you're pushing yourself to the limit. There's no time to absorb these vistas.
yeah, but like it's something I normally wouldn't do. Climb a mountain, and I feel like I should climb a mountain. Like I need to climb a
Uh,
mountain.
So if you want it as a forcing function, totally on board.
Like I don't need this. Like I don't need the stress or anxiety of this thing because it's like it's not just climbing a mountain. We'll get into it. It's like there's challenges and blah blah blah. So like maybe not. Maybe I'd rather do those like race ones, race to a New Zealand or whatever. Anyway, let's get back to the show. It's being hosted by Mr. Manu Bennett, famously from Arrow.
I knew you were gonna be like, oh, he's the Arrow guy.
I had to look up because I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. And he plays it like everyone knows who the fuck he is. So like I'm not like like he's not Tom Cruise, but he's acting like he's Tom Cruise.
I get the vibe from him that he thinks he's as recognizable and cool as the New Zealand guy on The Boys, and he's not.
Yeah, I don't know who that actor is either.
Yeah, I mean,
I know the act. I know the show. I just don't know the actor name.
I mean, this is dating myself, but if I think of New Zealand, I still think of Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, I used to have a Concords poster on my wall in college.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I never heard of this guy. I never heard of the show Arrow. I just saw this guy who's like,
It's like Green Arrow. It's CW11 shit.
yeah,
Yeah. It was back when I would argue that I would watch a superhero TV show. Now I will not.
yeah.
Back in the day. All right. He's pretty good. He's pretty intense. Like he comes up out of nowhere and he's like, "You're behind. You need to go faster." Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, they are kind of behind.
But this is my gripe with the show right now is like, how do I know that? There's 9 checkpoints, 14 days. So it's not like, hey, you're supposed to make a checkpoint per day. I think maybe you are. I don't know. But what, I don't understand how this is supposed to work.
Well,
I thought they made that pretty clear.
What do you mean?
You're
They made it
supposed to
pretty clear they're behind, but they didn't make it clear like how to like measure their progress. They never showed a map with them where they are.
I'm
Like-
with Chris. I would love to know just how fucked they are halfway through a day.
Here's the thing. It took them 2 days to reach the first checkpoint, and there's a lot more to go and harder stuff to go. They're behind. That's enough that I need to know. I do want the map and stuff, but already like they're not doing so hot at the start of this thing.
I just don't know how fucked they are.
I'm sure this was baked in by the producers. I'm sorry. I'm sure they did trial runs of the show with other people. In fact, this is not their first rodeo. They've done 2 seasons of this on Australian TV.
I just don't know. Like, okay, you're going up this mountain, and what television are we watching if they don't make it? Like, that seems like how you have the rug pulled out from under you if they don't make it. And like the whole point of this is like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of bullshit. I feel like there's no chance that the last person in this doesn't get whatever money's left over.
Interesting.
Like, I don't believe them. I don't believe there's a time limit. I don't like, and part of that is like they're not giving us a good indicator of where they are, what their timelines are. Like, they're not,
I see.
and I just don't think it would be very entertaining if like, why would you go on the show to not win $1 million, like not win money? Like,
Well, they're
I
definitely not winning $1 million. Like it seems, unless there's like different challenges along the way where they can claw back.
yeah, I mean, not
Maybe
win $1 million.
also.
We'll talk about that, but I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of watching the show, I think it's total fake. The 14-day timeline. The
That does
14-day
make sense,
timeline.
right? Because if they don't show the map, then they can set up the like the camp. I forgot what they called it, right? But they can set that up kind of wherever they want and just be a few days ahead, right? If not one day ahead. Like that camp probably takes like 2 hours to set up. And the hardest part is how do you get all that stuff there? Yeah, it seems pretty hard.
Helicopter.
I guess
It's
so,
true. We
right?
did see helicopters.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Brian, I wish I could be like you and just believe them that they're behind it. Like, I wish I could believe more.
Here's the thing, though. I want them to do the 14-day thing because that's just easy money for them. It's like, oh, you didn't make it. All right, sorry.
That would be funny. Just like, we don't encounter that many open-ended filming schedule reality shows, I feel.
Not
90 Day
since
Fiance.
like 2001.
Yeah. Well, except for Utopia, obviously.
I mean, do any of the dating shows like could theoretically a bachelor or a bachelorette just be like, nah, and just end production?
A Bachelor
think
that did.
You could probably not pick at the end, but you got to go through the whole thing.
Dude, a
It happened,
Bachelor
right?
bailed like 2 episodes in.
But how they handle that?
Yeah, like what they
They
did.
brought in a new Bachelorette.
That's nuts.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nuts that they they usually do like all this whole selection process, and then it's like, all right, I'm out. Like I'm gonna go with this guy that I just met, and then it's like, okay, well now we have to select somebody else, or all this production money is wasted.
Right. Yeah, I think it'd be more interesting. Like they kind of get to the end, and it's like, okay, who are you gonna propose to? And be like, actually, nah, bro.
Yeah, I think that's happened too, but I think I don't know, that was less impactful because it's just like the season's complete. You didn't find love, you go on. Like it doesn't have as big of an impact. It's just like
Life
stopping
will
either
go
beginning.
on.
Life will go on.
All right. So the premise of the show: 16 random people walking up the mountain with $1 million. Person leaves, they lose the money. But when you make a checkpoint, you get to vote someone off the island but keep their money.
Well, it's not that you get to; you are forced to.
Yeah.
Your whole idea is to get as much money as possible. Of course, you want their money.
Yeah, but there's also this like weird dynamic. I mean, the group dynamic thing. But
Well,
yeah.
there's like, so the whole drama of the show was like Bo. They tried to portray Bo as being continually behind and always stopping.
Mhm.
And then, so they tried to make it seem like they were going to vote Bo off the island because he was too slow, holding everyone down. But surprise, they didn't vote Bo off. They voted Rose out. And
Yeah.
by the time they got to this far, they had already lost me, and I couldn't even tell you who the fuck Rose was. I don't even remember why they voted Rose off the island.
They voted her off because basically she was just annoying. Like,
Yeah, they thought there was a lot of collusion during that like rope challenge crossing because she was like the first one over with what's her face, Brianna Lee or whatever,
Becky Lee.
Becky Lee, that's what it was. Yeah, and they just thought that like she could be like a real problem and being too bossy and stuff, so they kicked her off.
Yeah, but she wasn't the first contestant to go off. We skipped a little bit of Tony.
True. Tony. He
Tony.
got like heat stroke, it looked like.
Yeah.
And they had to helicopter him off the island.
Yeah, you got to evacuate. That's definitely a rough way to go. It looked like they were maybe out like 3 hours or so. Like it didn't seem that long. Rough.
Do we think the producers always include somebody who has to bail early?
You gotta, of
Just
course.
just so you at home are like, oh wow, this is real serious, you guys.
How
I
how
don't think they.
dated are we that they're just like, oh, they pay somebody to like bail in like the first episode?
Not saying they pay him to, just saying I think they cast
N-
somebody who probably doesn't have the chops. Easy money, you know?
I mean, they're still like paying him though. Like they have to pay for like small amount of production, but they're not paying like
Sure.
that whatever he was carrying.
And the helicopter. I do. I mean,
Oh, that
Well,
yeah,
I'm
that's
with
a
you.
huge expense.
So-
we can't go into the conspiracy theory on conspiracy
No,
theories. Like, what if the producer did this? What if this is really producer? What if this is a mole? Like, I can't get that deep. I can't do it. It's
This
just
entire
like
podcast has been about that, Chris. We're already in it.
So Max,
we can't go another layer deep. We just can't do it.
Max is kind of correct.
Yo,
So,
suck
and-
it, Chris. Suck it.
So wait, but before you jump up and down,
Uh,
there are 2 seasons in Australia. On both of those seasons, they had someone who did not get eliminated, but they withdrew. And so on the first season, you had someone who withdrew voluntarily, assuming they were not physically fit enough, or just it was too grueling. And then on the
Okay.
second season, where'd it go? You also someone that you had 2 people that withdrew, one for medical reasons, and then one who believed the game was rigged.
Holy shit. And this is all in season 1, season 2, episode 1?
No,
Okay.
so season 1, season 2, definitely not episode 1. More likely, like season 1, it looked like probably episode 2, and season 2 probably like episode 2 and 4,
Okay.
give or take. No, so there's definitely a
doesn't say
thing.
that-
I
That
do love
doesn't
that
say that, like-
reasoning to withdraw.
It's rigged.
That's just coincidental on like a fucking exercise like related show. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they can still be picking somebody, but this is all still conspiracy theory. We went a layer deeper.
I told you we can't go. We can't do it.
But wait. Can we just talk about you're going on a produced, coronated game show, and you know it's rigged, like to a certain degree. Like then you think, oh no, this is really rigged. So then you go, who is this guy?
But yeah, I can't.
So help me go through this math. So you have $1 million, right?
Mhm.
And so every person has like $7,200, $72,500, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
right? So theoretically, if you start from the beginning and walk up the mountain yourself, that's how much money you get, right? Like, so the only way you get money that is like add to that pot is in the checkpoint. So you only get 9 checkpoints. So you only get 9. You consolidate like 9 times, like up. You add to the pot. So instead of dividing by 16, you divide it by theoretically 7 or now 6, right? So
What do you mean now 6? What do you mean by that?
because at each checkpoint you vote someone off the island.
Oh, so you mean like bring it up
16?
to current day? Yeah.
Yeah, 16 minus 9, 7, 6.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if no one else drops out and you make the 14 days, the maximum you're going to win is 150,000.
Not bad though. That's fine. I mean, $10,000 a day.
All right, somewhere
Right.
around there, I guess. It's not math doesn't math, but
I mean, even if you take some taxes out, $6,000 a day to have an adventure. That sounds great.
okay, all right.
That's not convincing for you.
Seeing you eye to eye here. I get really annoyed when they're like $1 million, but like
yeah.
no one wins $1 million.
Yeah, it's
Like you don't even
bullshit.
get the 150. You get $80,000 or whatever it's going to be after taxes. Like,
Definitely the $1,000,000 on this show is the most like, I don't know the right word, but like not real. It's like million. It's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to a certain degree. It's like, yeah, you can win $1,000,000 if you answer 25 questions in a row or whatever it was, And by that you means you have to flip a coin 25 times and land on heads every time. It's like you could do it, but
do you think they challenge this? Like, there's a season of there's multiple seasons of the challenge where like partners won, but at the end, whoever finished first could like choose to share the prize or take the whole prize.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
That was
Spoilers.
That was some good
Spoiler
shit.
for one season of the challenge. Johnny Bananas does this at some point.
Banana
He's
Man.
pretty famous for taking all the money from his partner.
Banana Man. But I mean, I think that's also a character, but
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's still whatever 500 grand you've lost, or it probably wasn't that expensive at that point.
yeah,
Probably
but
given, yeah,
wasn't. I mean, this is a big tangent, but Johnny Bananas definitely seems to play a specific character,
Absolutely.
like the
Stir the
friendly
shit.
but like
Yeah.
evil on TV, and I could also
Yeah.
see him then like, okay, the cameras are off, cool. Here's our cut.
I don't have any argument for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just seems like not actually ridiculous in real life, but maybe he is. I don't know.
The last piece of minutia I think about this show is there's some sort of rope bridge challenge. So you had to like go like front to front and like walk across, like each of you are on your own piece of rope. And I thought this looked kind of hard. I thought that I would like, not only would I struggle to walk to this freaking place, I definitely would struggle to do this challenge. I feel like it seemed pretty hard, but
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Serious like core strength required and coordination. I was not a fan. I would literally rather do the thing where you just like dangle from it upside down and pull yourself across.
Oh yeah, like
Or
Yeah,
like,
but
what
you
if you
need
could
so
like,
much strength to pull yourself up.
what if you could like sort of plank across it and just keep rolling?
mm,
It was pretty tall up. Like, they were obviously in safety gear and stuff. Like, people fell and had to restart. But like, that's pretty fucking scary up there too.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
like,
I agree.
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
pretty intense.
It was a pretty good challenge. Like, I give them credit for constructing it, and it also was like you didn't need to be the most physically fit to do it. So it was nice. Yeah, I think it's just a really nicely made challenge.
Faux show. Any
Faux
other
show.
minutia people care to bring up?
Couple things. There's somebody whose name is Punkin. Pumpkin.
You took one of my
Oh,
minutiae.
I am so sorry, Noah. Also, we gotta talk about bivvies. Do we all know what a
Oh.
bivvy is?
No. Explain
I
it to me.
Those shit ass tents that they were using in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh
these
yeah,
are-
they talk about them little sleeping bag.
I'm pretty sure it's short for bivouac, which is like a little encampment, but that's my best guess. But they have all these Americans using this term, and I've never heard anybody say it.
Yeah.
In
I think
context, it definitely seemed like it was those sleeping bag things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, they were very upset about them. That's all I know.
Well, it was windy. I'm sure, like, I don't know what they're rated for, but
Oh, it seems horrible. Yeah, definitely seemed bad.
Noah, you have any other minutia you wanted to bring up?
I got one more. So they have this sound in a lot of movie trailers now, but it's like the deep bass, like zoom sound. Yeah, and it's like zoom.
Yeah.
It's like the slow motion of like a car crash happening or like a big punch. And they use that a lot in this show of like zooming out on the vista or looking at the pit. It'd be like zoom, boom.
I would agree with that analysis.
It was just kind of like very, it stuck out very clearly.
Not enough for me to notice. But
Um,
actually, I do remember that a couple times, but I didn't think it was weird.
the one thing on Pumpkins, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a contestant on one of the Family Feuds we watched that had a contestant named Pumpkin.
You're so right. You're
Do you think
so
it's-
right, Noah.
Do you think she's the same person?
I believe in your ability to internet corner that. But also, I could if you'd like me to.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is the pork chop, right? Episode, right?
Yeah, let me
Pork-
go look it up. I gotta know.
Pork loin. Pork loin.
I bet you $20 you cannot find this out.
I'll bet Max can find it. Not only can he find it, he'll find it in about 2.5 minutes.
All right, I'll take you up on that bet.
All right, I'm in.
All right. Who's the worst human being this episode? Was it Rose? Because
Yeah.
she was so annoying. She got kicked off this show.
Yeah, she definitely gets it. Her, and also Shweta. Shweta was at least the edits they got. Shweta and Rose were like definitely the most unlikable.
They definitely tried to make that one guy seem like, I forget it. I don't know his name, but like he was like the Boy Scout guy or whatever.
Yeah, the camp
Oh,
council.
I had such a better quote. Let me see if I can find my quote. But
Oh,
like,
man.
he's just like giving you solid advice, and they're like, "This dude sucks." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"This dude does not suck."
Yeah, I think that was Robert. I mean, I think he gave good advice,
This
but
is
like
the quote.
it was just so condescending.
The Dusty had this quote. Robert has too much fake camp counselor energy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I mean, at some point he's like, hey, why don't we stop and after getting through this bog and, rinse out our socks? How is that fake? Like, that's useful thing to do because you're going to feel better. You're going to be able to go further. Like, fuck off if you like think that that's not something you should do.
It definitely was mixed because sometimes Robert, yeah, he was like, oh, okay, it's reasonable. And sometimes it's like, bro, you're not the counselor. You're not the chaperone. Like,
I think they made him look way worse than he really was.
definitely could be. But he definitely gave like camp counselor, like ninth grade biology teacher trying to be cool, but wears like ties with planets on them type of vibe. Like, it's like, man.
All right. Would the show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok? Noah, what do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, we touched on this. The vistas are pretty cool. Like, this show is partially a man, I can't think of the guy's name, but the gravelly voice who does the documentaries, Werner Herzog. Like, it kind of has like that type of cinematography, and I think for that reason, it would be not as good as a Quib or Tick.
I'd argue, I know this isn't part of the question, but I think this would be better if it was a standard hour length show. I think it being 60 minutes, like, really, I just kind of got disinterested when it was like at some point.
So you mean if it was a 42-minute show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Let's see. Has Max found his answer?
Yeah, quick update. I don't think it's the same pumpkin.
No. Oh,
Sorry, squad.
Okay, but I mean, you
But
got
you
your
are
answer.
correct. Pumpkin is from the pork loin episode.
Man.
I didn't really hear a definitive answer there, so I'm not giving you $20. He's just like, I don't think so.
No, visually compared who's on that versus who's in the summit, and they are different people.
Oh,
They
so
don't, but they're not on IMDb. These people aren't like.
I used a visual inspection, Chris. I am reasonably sure the person sitting in your room is not Brian.
yeah, the one thing too that I'm thinking, if I remember the Family Feud episode, that pumpkin was probably like mid-20s, give or take. Like,
Yeah,
uh, and that's probably from 15 years ago at this point. And Pumpkin in the show is 33.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, Max.
yeah.
What speed? Well, actually, no. What speed do you think Max watched this episode at?
So this was a 65-minute runtime. Um, I'm gonna go 1.75x. I think he had to speed play this a little bit.
The specific 1.75. All right, Brian, what do you think?
I'm going 1.5. Although, no, I can't do the 1x. I don't want to.
I'm gonna have to go with the 2.5, Bob. 2.5.
Whoa.
Max,
That's
what
so
was it?
fast.
Xbox doesn't support speeding up. I watched it on Xbox. 1.x.
Yeah.
Why did you watch it on Xbox?
Because I've been on an Xbox kick lately.
What's been
Max, you're killing me. You're killing me. You're gonna let Brian take that win? The
I'm-
W?
I'm gonna take a little sidetrack for a second. I've been playing this game called Loop Hero, and like it has a function built into the UI that's just do everything at 4x speed, and I love it. Okay, back on topic.
All right. So, how fast is Max playing this game?
4x, baby.
how do you do a game at 4? Like you can't
It's
just run? Like
it's a very difficult game to explain.
Do you remember that game where like you had to spread? You were like spreading you were a disease and you were trying to spread throughout the whole world.
Yeah, and Madagascar
Pandemic?
always closes itself off.
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
like
yeah, that
break?
game. Yeah, something like that. Where like there's a regular speed, and then you're like,
I
yeah.
see. Oh,
For
I see.
when you're not doing a whole lot, you know, like you speed it up, and then you can slow it down.
I understand now. Okay. That's a helpful reference.
All right. Drinking rules. Drinking. We definitely need some drinking rules for the 60-minute show. Brian, you got a drinking rule for me?
Every time they pan over a scenic vista, take a drink.
That's a good one. Noah?
Every time they're reminded that they aren't moving fast enough, take a very fast sip.
Max?
Every time there's this character named Theron, every time Theron looks like he's about to cry, drink something salty.
Anytime they fail a challenge or like somebody like, you know, messes up in the challenge, take a drink. Anyone got any more they want to bring up?
Every time Shweta makes a comment that sounds like corporate nonsense, take a sip of some old coffee.
Ooh.
Anytime you got to do this one. Anytime they're like, we got to move faster, take a drink.
Okay.
All right. So now we do ratings. We do top, middle, bottom, third show. And Brian, what do you got for me?
I think despite like all the stuff that I've heard, I actually like this show. I wasn't really bored. They were like for a first episode, they didn't focus so much on the people that I was like so bored. And they made a decent amount of progress, like 2 days worth of progress, like, if timelines are to be believed. So I'm putting them in the top.
I'm sorry, Brian. Put it in your head.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the top, but bottom of the top.
Max, what do you got for me?
I was pretty bored. Just This format does nothing for me, but it's high quality, and honestly, the location gives it a lot of points. Middle third, uh, middle of the middle. I wanted to give it a bottom, but middle of the middle.
Nobody got for me.
Yeah. Um, I also think this is a solid middle show. Similarly, like I'm just not a huge fan of the format, but I think it's very well made, and I could see that if I'm programming like the fall lineup of something, that there's a lot of people that like the Amazing Race, Survivor, right? Like they like that format. They like seeing everyday people like persevering, and so I could see why this is like a good show. Just generally not as much for me. So for that reason, middle to middle.
And for that reason, Sharks, I'm out.
Yeah.
I need 5 cent commission on every product sold in perpetuity in your store.
And I want a royalty of 50 cents every time they mention bivouac or bivy.
Yeah. I agree. This is a middle third show. Like, I really would love to figure out the pacing of how people are doing, how they're really doing, but I think that might ruin their pacing of their show. I think that would really elevate the show. But also, I think it's a little too long. Like, I was in for like the first like half hour, and then I just kind of was like, oh my god, can we like move it along? It's slow versus fast, fast versus slow, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow. Like, you just kind of run out of content. But what saves it from the bottom third is the vistas, and I do kind of find it's they picked a good cast, I think, to do this. The
Yeah.
cast is entertaining, so I'm gonna put it in the middle. I know we did the show because Harrison and Annabeth, former hosts of the show, sometimes guest hosts, said they loved the show, but they were busy for the next couple weeks. So we're like, let's just do it. So you better be listening to this podcast. Let's put it that
They
way.
are the audience. They are the prime
The
audience.
audience who put this on, they
It,
put
it
it
would be
on.
interesting to maybe get like a dial in like or just like recording because we're all pretty like even keen on this show and they're an extreme. They aren't loving the show. They're not even liking, loving. You said.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to steal the segment from who put the or how did this get made, where we get second opinions. I don't know
Ooh,
where people
right.
rate reality shows, but
The second opinion. It reminds me of on 60 Minutes. Like they used to have Andy Rooney with like Andy's take, and then now they have like the last minute. I think that could be our segment, like the second opinion.
yeah, we have to, well, sometimes we're just like this show premiered 2 hours ago. Like we don't have any second opinions, but when
Yeah,
we catch them like a couple of weeks, might be able to find some.
yeah. I also like that it puts our opinion first, so we are declaring that our opinion is fairly.
Obviously, our opinions are the more important thing.
Yes, this is always the
I
second.
agree.
Yeah.
So tell us what you thought about this show on Twitter or X at Who Put This On. We might move to Blue Sky. I just made an account on Blue Sky, but I didn't make one for our podcast. I should do that. I've done Twitter. I don't really want to use it anymore. So
I too have made the migration.
maybe we need to make like a Reddit post and then post it a couple places. See if we get any traction on our polls. Actually, Spotify has polls, but we
Yeah,
don't have a.
use
How do
Spotify.
you, but like, how do you?
But I don't know if you could share the Spotify link.
Where does
on
it show up? Like Spotify doesn't have like a feed.
I don't know. I don't understand how to
Hmm.
use podcasts on Spotify. I need a
Well,
tutorial.
I'm just like, what's just like, how do you get the distribution on that poll? Like, you can't send messages. I don't think. Like, you don't have an inbox.
It's yeah.
You have a
I
notification.
don't know. I don't know. You can go on Spotify and like there you can do Q&A. Like we have Q&A enabled. So if you want to ask us a question, you can go to Spotify and ask us a question. And I don't know how to do that, but you can do it. I assume you find the episode, you click on it, and there's like, there's just a poll associated with the episode, and you can like vote in that.
That's so deep. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're a regular listener to our podcast on Spotify, probably really easy to do. If you're a regular
No.
listener,
but like even then, how many podcasts have like so? I'm religious about some podcasts. The amount of time I will actually look at the like episode page in the app, even when
Pretty
like a
low.
yeah, exactly. As I mean, it's
well,
like
if you want to vote in the poll, maybe you'd look at it because we mentioned the
So
poll.
right.
It's not like
Maybe.
it's not like people on the the podcast you're listening to aren't mentioning, hey, engage with us via this simple thing in the app you're listening to it.
no, they do promote different. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I
but they're
guess.
like, hey, go buy, baby diapers. Use my code, Baba Boosh.
1-800-baby diaper.
Right.
Like, like that's not the same as like tell us what you thought about this show by a simple click, which
Yeah.
is what we're doing on Twitter. But we
I
hate
guess
Twitter.
so. That makes sense. Yeah, the podcaster has to be like, open up the app right now, click it in. Yeah.
Like right now, there's still a lot of friction. You got to go to Twitter, click the button.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have
No, you're
link
right.
to the podcast description. I mean, I should probably do that. That might make
Yeah.
it easier for you to vote.
Yeah, it's all kind of still jabber wonky to me because like even with the poll, then there's like some timeliness, and that assumes people are consuming the podcast content in like a timely fashion, which probably is true with some podcasts, but some are obviously much more durable. I don't know. It's a very interesting product.
Okay, all right.
I've thought way too much.
Anyway, let's talk about what else we've been watching. Brian, what else have you been watching?
Time to finish Cobra Kai. I like the campiness of it, but it's time for me to just like say goodbye.
So is this season good or not?
I mean, it's the same as like any other season. Oh, you got some good throwbacks. You got some martial arts. You got the feel good stories. It's good side TV content.
It's just like Cobra Kai started out like a story of a surrogate son and a drunk dad, trying to like clean up his life, and now it's like we got to save the world from this evil karate empire. Like that's just not the same show.
I know, but I also find it funny that it's now an evil karate empire.
I know it's so
It's like
ridiculous.
season 58. Like we're
No, it's season 6.
6. Wow.
Yeah, and this is like the series finale. Like they've already said, like they're not doing anymore.
Have there ever been any spin-offs of Cobra Kai? Like, keep it going.
There's,
I don't know.
I think they're making a movie that might be connected to Cobra Kai. I don't know.
Like the Karate Kid?
Yeah.
What's like the legal status of Cobra Kai? Because like
What do
I
you
was
mean?
under the impression it started off as a web series that was just loosely related to Karate Kid.
Absolutely not. It was a YouTube series when YouTube was doing their YouTube Red thing.
Okay,
And
so
it
it
was
was
the only show-
official.
It's an official part of Karate Kid, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It might be like, I don't know if there's like who owns the license for movies versus television. Might be different. I don't know.
You can definitely split it out. I mean,
Yeah,
Because like the Karate Kid with Jackie Chan, I think, came out around the same time. Or like something. So it's like,
well, yeah, you'd have the brand, and then you can license the brand, right? But then you had the people that produce the content, and then you had the people that are distributing the content. Everyone's gonna get their beak wet.
Max, what do you got for me? You watching anything?
I rewatched Severance. Great show. Still good on rewatch. Excited for season 2 in January. Just before the pod, I popped on, against my better judgment, Silo season 2 episode 1. I did not love Silo season 1, but given it a whirl, seems okay.
Season 2 episode 1 was great. I thought it was really well.
Yeah, it seems promising so far. One more thing is I did watch Dune Prophecy and wasn't that much of a fan.
That's a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
pieces of it felt really amateurish, like WB11 teen drama, and just based it just next to like the movies, it's a completely different vibe. Also, they're cowards. They don't say the Butlerian Jihad. They say the Machine Wars. I don't like that.
How dare they not use the
Deep,
word that people would be offended by?
deep, deep, deep book cut.
Deep cuts. Yeah, I watched Silo. I do agree with you. Season one, Silo like pacing is off. So I'm hoping that they learned their lessons with season two and the pacing is better. And I think
Maybe.
so. Season one, like episode one, was just like you're also just kind of like outside a mystery box, your initial mystery box. So you're into like a wider, bigger mystery that's like more, I think, more compelling. So I'm excited for Silo season two. That was going to be my shout out. Noah, any shout outs?
Yeah. So I watched 2 Apple Plus movies. Um, one of them was Napoleon, the Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah,
film.
I saw that in theaters.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
I don't think it's a good theater movie, but like it's just kind of weird to me because it just seems like they glossed over a lot what he did, and it was just like it
The battle
was
scenes were really good, though.
the battle
One of
scenes
the
were
more things.
amazing. Yeah, those are extremely well done. Those are very fun. But yeah, it just seemed like they glossed over a lot of like the bad he did, and like you kind of feel for him, which I'm like, I don't know what to say. You're supposed to feel about Napoleon, but anyway. And then there's another film, much more fun, called The Instigators, with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. Super fun. Would highly recommend. And then I watched an episode of It's Florida Man. Have you guys?
I've seen
I
that.
tried
On
20
HBO.
minutes. I didn't love it.
Yeah,
What is this?
it is definitely something that is like, is it better as a Quibi? Definitely.
Yes. Brian, it's on HBO Max. It's they dramatize retail dumb Florida man stories, like the guy who took bath salts and shit.
Mm.
Yeah, it the whole thing just feels like an SNL skit that was made into a movie. Like it's that type of pain. Yeah, I watched E1. I was like, okay, I really wish this was 7 minutes instead of 30.
SNL skit.
Yeah.
I'm going to end this with I have Bob's Burgers playing next to me, but I'm not
Oh.
watching it. But there's this thing where I have a tablet that's just constantly playing something, and I like look over and I like see a humorous moment, and I did. And this episode is when Bob gets he wins like a storage locker from like his uncle or something, and inside the storage locker is just a guy, like there's just a guy in the storage locker. He comes and moves into like Bob's basement and like creates these like great murals with him as the like statue in the mural, and it's just like Bob's Burgers used to be so fucking out there and original, and it was so funny. Not that it's bad today, but it's just like they've really watered it down to be more for kids and like not just like ballsy. It's like you would have
It was
it's like a
insane back in the day.
guy. It's like who thinks of that? Like it's just nuts. All right. Next week we're going to be watching the Harry Potter Wizard Baking Show on HBO Max, season 1, episode 1. And everyone, send in your thoughts on how fast Max is going to watch this show, because I would put some money on it not being at 1. That's my money.
It's an interesting theory.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.